Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful afternoon. It's like an 85-degree December Saturday afternoon.
Way too hot.
Way too hot. A little warm for December, but it's still a very, very pleasant day. I go by the legend, joined by my wonderful girlfriend, Molly. And it's Universal Update Day, so we're going to show you all around the parks today. Everything that's new and interesting. A couple of attractions that are closed, or they're either closed or closing. A major refurbishment. Then we're going to check out all the stuff going on for the Universal holidays. Let's go explore the Universal Orlando Resort. Some of the biggest news happening recently, Shrek 4D is closing. It's going to close on January, I believe January 10th, and closing forever. The rumor is it's going to be replaced with a Minions Villains Con walkthrough attraction. So I would say, like, Shrek 4D definitely one of the more aged attractions in the park. Can definitely, if you had to circle a whole bunch of rides that could go, this would be, you know, one of the very top of that list. But then what is rumored to replace it, I'm not super excited about that idea.
No, a walkthrough attraction?
Yeah. In more of a return to normalcy, the names have come back to E.T. Adventures, so if you want to go up there and call yourself Wakabaisha or something like that, go for it. More news over here, where Fear Factor Live is officially closed forever. Now, this is something that has not come back after the pandemic, and it's really been an underutilized venue for years here, most notably for a Halloween Horror Nights show.
Yes.
So obviously that is out the window. The big rumor is that there'll be an expansion of Diagon Alley out this way and be a Harry Potter VR broomstick attraction. Now, what'll it be? I'm not really sure. Now, Molly, you are a Harry Potter mega fan. What would you want to see in a Harry Potter VR broomstick ride here at Universal Studios?
I'm honestly not sure, because I feel like the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure has the greatest hits of Harry Potter, because obviously you want Quidditch, but you already have Quidditch in the other side. So I would say the Ministry of Magic would be really great.
But that's also rumored to be the major dark ride for Epic Universe.
Yes, so therefore I don't know where they would go besides the Battle of Hogwarts or something, because you have movie 1, 2, 3, and 4 for all their highlights over at Forbidden Journey.
And you have the beginning of 7 or 8 over in the Gringotts.
Correct.
Maybe they finish it over here.
Yeah, maybe it is the Battle of Hogwarts.
I'm not sure, but it'd be interesting because they did a VR Harry Potter ride kind of simulator thing at the store in New York City.
And I think that's mostly Quidditch, isn't it?
I don't know. I'll be there. Maybe I'll ride it. I'll be there in like 2 weeks.
Yes.
For the holiday season, which is weird that I might go to the Harry Potter store in New York and
I'm at work.
Yeah,
I'm here.
You'll be at work. All right, but there we go. That's at the same time, I'm not super excited about this new ride, but it's way better than what they have here now.
Yes.
Recently, there's been some major news coming out of Revenge of the Mummy. It's going to close for a very, very long refurbishment on January 7th and be closed through late summer. No official word on what they're going to do, but I imagine it's a lot of mechanical stuff, like whether that be launch replacements, track replacements, part replacements, things like that. But I'm guessing a lot of work is going to be done. There are rumors, if you read over on Orlando Park Stop, that this will be a sort of thematic change as well, clearing up some of the, you know, it's kind of a confusing storyline where you're sort of on a haunted film set inside a museum, so sort of clearing some stuff up like that. But I as a big fan, this is one of my favorite rides at Universal. I'm happy that they're spending 6 months to fix it up instead of getting rid of it. So I'm happy that this is going to be here for years and years and years. Poseidon's Fury remains closed, but they have been doing a lot of work on it, and painting stuff and refurbishing stuff. So I'm guessing it's probably getting ready to reopen soonish. Over in the New York area of the park, they do have a giant, giant Christmas tree, which for years has been home to Earl the Squirrel. But starting today, there is an Earl the Squirrel meet and greet character.
Who's adorable?
He is about the cutest thing ever. Something I love that Universal did this year, they hid Easter eggs in a lot of the Christmas garland. So there's a whole bunch of them all over the park, and a lot of them are tributes to old attractions. Like right now, I'm right outside of the Minions gift shop over by Rick Ride Rocket, and there is Rosie from the Jetsons, because obviously the futuristic world of Hanna-Barbera was here many, many moons ago. Over by Kids Zone, there's a wonderful photo op for the upcoming Sing 2, a sequel that I personally did not need, but the photo op is great. Now, one of the main events here at Universal for Christmas time is the Holiday Parade featuring Macy's, which we're going to show some highlights of right now. I love the snowmen. They're so adorable. Also, as a guy that grew up on Long Island in New York, went to many a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade growing up. It's so cool that they have some balloons. Here in Zeus Landing, the Carousel is currently under refurbishment. Over here in Zeus Landing, they do the big Frenchmans Show, but it does fill up pretty quickly, even though it's now in the Blue Man Group Theater. We are here like 18 minutes before the show, and it is completely full up. As like most holidays or theme park events, Voodoo Donut has a specialty donut. This one is the wreath donut. They actually have two different Christmas-inspired donuts. And then something that's very new, there's now a mobile order section for Voodoo Donut. We just used that. It took about 5 minutes to get our order, which is much better than waiting in that line. They have a specialty food booth set up here in Battery Park, home to pressed sandwiches, and this is a tough call. There's a chocolate pressed s'mores, peanut butter fluff and stuff, a BLT, holiday leftovers. I think that one got my attention. Some desserts, including cookies and milk, which looks just adorable. So we got the holiday leftover pressed sandwich with like a cranberry bread and turkey and brie cheese, and then a big old side of gravy, and the cranberry Kringle Pilsner from Orange Blossom, which are really good. That's a really nice beer. The sandwich is really, really good. The cranberry bread and the gravy make it, but it's absolutely delicious. Over in the San Francisco area, the park right by Fast and the Furious, the food truck is back, serving Nashville hot chicken, either in skewers or mac and cheese. And here's the Nashville hot chicken skewer. It looks good. Served with some pickles, white bread, coleslaw. I don't think it's $15 good though. It smells good, but at least they do have the giant cans of Sierra Nevada's Hazy Little Thing IPA. As NSYNC plays in the background, my lips are on fire. They don't lie about this being hot chicken. I'm really happy we bought this giant beer. A new specialty food item is here at Circus McGurk's Cafe Stupendous. Unfortunately, it's closed at 6:18 in the evening, or else we get the roast beef, which is some sort of crazy roast beef and like meatloaf sandwich. Well, this is adorable. Over in the Citywalk area, they set up the Mistletoe Pines Village, kind of like a small holiday market. Go see what kind of good stuff's over here. I love, like, they spend a ton of money on signage and stuff. It looks really nice. Kudos to them. These smell really good. It's fresh roasted nuts. Not really my thing, but what is my thing is Fat Tuesday, which is festive holiday drinks have my attention. Yeah, the Fat Tuesday menu is just the same as it always is, which is great, but I don't know why they have that sign there. Maybe it's so people would find it. Got some interesting stuff here at the hair wrap kiosk. Hair tinsel, festive feathers, or beard ornaments. You do have a festive flavors food booth filled with like boozy eggnog for $13 or $14, and some fun treats that are gonna be a little bit hard to see with the glare here. There's also a booth selling like caricatures and then custom ornaments. It's kind of neat. Also in the market, the Beverage Stand has a special holiday menu. So they've got a holiday cocktail and then 3 holiday beers, a St. Barnabas Christmas Ale, a Kentucky Bourbon Coffee Stout, and when I ordered the whole hog hazelnut brownie porter. I don't get a lot of brownie, I get a lot of hazelnut. It's kind of a sweet porter, which is kind of weird, but I like it. So Molly just looked it up on Untapped. This beer, it's no joke. It's a big beer with 9.2% ABV. Yeah, you get some bang for your buck there. The tribute store is now a Christmas time tribute store. Let's go see what's inside. The first room is done up as a big, kind of like a Santa's workshop area. Really like this conveyor belt here, where the wooden bears come out in, not painted, but they come out as painted wooden bears. The next room is Earl the Squirrel's Christmas Curios Museum and Emporium, and it's got, I love all the retro kind of decorations in here. The candles are kind of, those are kind of odd. It smells great in here. Also, there is snacks. Yeah. New this year, they have a bunch of Earl the Squirrel merchandise as well. You got a fleece hoodie, a long sleeve. I do like this, like just a decorative block. That is pretty nice as well. Get your own Earl the Squirrel hat. Oh, and they've got Earl the Squirrel Christmas ornaments. There's one for Universal Pass holders. and just one for Universal. The next room is all themed up towards How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And you get all your Grinch stuff in here. Even a Grinch nutcracker or a Grinch stocking. Molly, the final room is all for you. It's done up as the Yuletime Ball.
It is. With the music and all.
That's a new signage merch for the Harry Potter fans. Although, Molly, you're not the biggest fan.
I'm not a big fan, no. I don't know where you put it. I do like the Daily Fruit outfit one.
Not something I'm going to rush to spend $30 on, but I absolutely love it. It is a Homer as Mr. Sparkle plushie. That is so niche, but so wonderful. Something Universal doesn't do, but I wish they would do, is put Santa hats on the Transformers characters. Back this year is the Holiday Tree Hunt. You can buy a map for a bit, but I think it's like $10 or so. And then you could go on a scavenger hunt and get an ornament at the end. Or you can just wander around to a bunch of the gift shops. Starting here in the Legacy store, which got a whole bunch of retro kind of rides. And I love it. Like the ET one's got the bike and the moon. The Earthquake one has the little subway cars.
And like fire.
Yeah, and fire. Then of course Back to the Future is Out of Time, the DeLorean. Jaws has the skipper hat and the shark. And Conquistation has the big gorillas. This is absolutely wonderful. Here's the tree at the Universal Studio store. In the Betty Boop store, it's no surprise, a Betty Boop Christmas tree, but I do like how it kind of wears a skirt. I love the SpongeBob SquarePants tree, complete with his house. Here's the tree in the Men in Black gift shop, most notably for the spaceship on top. But I also got a, yeah, I think those are interchangeable terms, but I also like they have a pug purse. That's adorable. A very fanciful Christmas tree here in the San Francisco candy shop. Here's the Jurassic Park Christmas tree. This is the Christmas tree in the Port of Entry gift shop at Islands of Adventure. Very nautical. And that'll do it for our time at Universal Orlando. Good to see all of the Christmas stuff, and nice to see the resort continuing to improve. If you have any questions or comments about this update video, let us know in the comment section below. And thank you very much for watching.